Welcome back to 2022. Welcome back to E2 OET. My name is Jay, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about how you are going to pass OET in 2022. You can do it, and I'm going to help you. If you're watching this, it means that you need to get your OET results in 2022. Maybe you need your results next week or next month, or maybe in 6 months' time. Maybe you're a doctor or a nurse. Maybe you need a 350 or higher. Either way, you have to start thinking about it now. And the first thing you should do is download the free PDF goal setter from the description below. You're going to use this goal setter PDF to set your daily and weekly goals and stick to them so you can achieve your main goal of getting a high score. We'll be working through this PDF as we move through the video together. Download it, print it out, stick it on your fridge, use it. Just keep in mind that E2 has helped over 1.5 million students get the English language test scores they need, so we know what you need to do, okay? I also recommend subscribing to this YouTube channel and just following us. We will get you there. Okay, before we look at each section of the test and what you need to do to pass, I want to quickly talk about 3 considerations before you do anything. First, find out your target scores. So it's up to you to find out what score you need for university entrance or migration or employment. This is a critical first step as it sets a stake in the ground, and this becomes your aim or your target. Second, find out your current scores. You need to know where you stand or where your English is in relation to your target scores, right? You can do this very simply by taking our OET mini mock test on E2. Taking our scored OET mock test is a critical first step. It will give you test-like simulation, including a speaking mock test one-on-one with one of our expert teachers, as well as feedback on your writing. It comes in a range of packages on E2 Test Prep. Click the link in the description below. Third, determine the gap between your target scores and your current scores. This is your major aim, to close this gap. So once you know your target scores and your current scores, you'll then know the gap between the two, and your aim will be to close the gap between your current scores and your target scores. All right, let's now go through each section of the test, and I'll give you some important goal setting tips, okay? Make sure you get the downloadable PDF. By doing this now, it'll make your life a lot easier in the future. All right, let's talk about how to pass OET listening in 2022. My biggest tip to pass the listening section in 2022 is to listen to some English every single day. You need to make it a habit. I highly recommend listening to podcasts. They're a great way to improve your English while you're doing something else, like driving or washing the dishes. And I highly recommend subscribing to the Everyday English with E2 podcast. It's a podcast in English about English for English language learners. It's super helpful. So write this onto your daily goal setter for listening. Listen to some English every single day. Even if it's just 2 minutes, it will help. I also recommend learning all 3 of the OET listening subtests back to front. Each subtest tests you on a different listening skill, so it's important that you understand them all really well. You need to know listening part A, listening part B, and listening part C. And I really recommend focusing on listening part A and C as they are particularly tricky. One thing you might want to do in 2022, and this really is a good idea, is join our live classes on E2 Test Prep. You might want to write this down as your weekly goal. Attend a listening live class on E2 once or even twice a week. All right, let's talk about how to pass OET reading in 2022. I hate to say it, but reading is all about vocabulary. So you'll probably need to continually build your vocabulary. As such, I recommend reading in English every single day, even if it's just one news story or one magazine article. You need to try to make it a habit. Write this down on your daily goal setup for reading. I'd also recommend reading widely across a variety of generalized medical topics and keeping flashcards to note down new words. You don't need to memorize medical vocabulary. That's not really important. You need to memorize English language vocabulary, nouns, verbs, and adjectives. Write them down with the English on one side and the translation on the other side on your flashcards. You should also review this vocabulary at least once a week as well. You might want to write that down on your goal setter. Review your vocab weekly so you don't forget it. One thing I do want to say here is be very careful with who you choose to prepare with. Some of the questions and mock tests you will find on the internet, and especially the free stuff, will be of very poor quality, and some of the teaching you'll find here on YouTube will be, well, what can I say, kind of misleading or just honestly just unhelpful. I recommend sticking with E2 as your single source of truth. Click that subscribe button. Let's talk about how to pass OET writing in 2022. My biggest tip for writing in 2022 is, I hate to say it, improve your grammar, but we have a very easy way to do it. You see, you can't have sloppy grammar in your test. Little things like articles and prepositions and verb tenses, you need to get them right. And in order to do this, all you need to do is check out another YouTube channel that we have called E2 English. So in the search bar, just search E2 English or click the link in the description below. There are lots of great videos on there to help straighten out your grammar. Write this into your weekly goal setter. Watch one E2 English video per week. It's also critical that you learn how to structure your writing. This really is the biggest challenge in OET writing, deciding where to put the case notes, into which paragraphs. But more important, at some point you're going to need to get feedback on your writing because you, as the writer, don't know the errors you're making. If you did, you wouldn't make them in the first place. So it's essential to get an expert to look at your writing. And when I say expert, I don't mean a friend or even a regular English teacher. You need an expert OET teacher to check your writing against these. So on E2 Test Prep, we have videos that outline exactly how you can write your letter to maximize your scores based on these criteria. It's essential viewing before test day. So we have 2 weekly tips. Watch an E2 English grammar video here on YouTube and get some feedback on your writing. Feel free to write your own personal weekly goal into the goal setter. So in terms of a daily practice tip for writing, well, you know the vocabulary that we were talking about earlier from reading, you need to use it in a sentence. So when you learn a new word, you want to write a sentence with it. So maybe when you create your flashcard, write an example sentence or 2. This will help you to memorize the word as well. Let's talk about how to pass OET speaking in 2022. If you don't have someone to speak English with, then I'd recommend reading aloud. It's a really helpful way to train your pronunciation and gain confidence. You can concentrate on the clarity of your delivery. It doesn't have to be OET specific. It can be anything. Reading aloud is really helpful. So on your goals sheet, you might want to write down read aloud under the daily speaking goal. Do it as part of your daily reading practice. Just read aloud. Okay, let me give you some final tips to pass OET in 2022. My final tip is please don't leave your preparation to the last minute or even last day or even last week. I've seen a lot of people leave their migration requirements or job requirements or university entrance requirements, important things, to the last week before the test. Then they get their results and they're disappointed, okay? You don't want to do that. You need to plan ahead and be wise with your time. We are here to help you, but please use the goal setting sheet yourself. Please define your own personal goals that you need to achieve. Okay, what about you? Do you have any tips that you want to share with other OET test takers? What about any goals that you have? What score are you aiming for and when are you planning to take the test? Pop all of this into the comments below, and while you're there, click the like button. My name is Jay and I wish you the best of luck in 2022.